And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The local government of El Nido in Palawan warns to shut down 11 of the 68 establishments in Corong-Corong village amid inspections and demolition of structures. Grace Casin tells us why in this exclusive report.
The local government of El Nido has identified 68 establishments that are violating the policy on 3-meter easement zone in Corong-Corong village. So far, 11 of these structures have yet to comply with the order to self-demolish ahead of the deadline.
Kailangan tapusin nila within 7 days yung demolition nila, and then after na hindi pa nila pumatapos, we will issue closure order.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources observed minor violations in several establishments during their inspection in Corong-Corong on Monday. They have asked the business owners to comply with the requirements.
Okay, binakbak na namin, nilipat ko doon. Tanggalin ko na lang din yung para wala ng problema.
El Nido Mayor Nieves Rosento also defended the 3-meter easement zone they are implementing, arguing the 25+5 easement zone policy implementing in Boracay is not applicable to their urban town. The DNR has been studying the matter.
Ito yung PD 1067 na if you are in urban areas, 3 meters easement from the highest watermark and 20 meters if you are not in urban areas.
We need to look at it kung ano yung basis ng kanilang yung kanilang ikino-contest na easement, no? But we will be of course we will implement kung ano yung batas, doon tayo lalagay.
Rosento also assures that the problem in sewerage and wastewater in El Nido are being addressed, adding that they have started to construct and install a main pipeline for all establishments in 2016. Business owners have also been warned of permit revocation if they fail to meet the requirement to have 3-layer septic tank and connect it to the main pipeline. Rosento says that so far 600 establishments have complied, noting that the water quality in El Nido have passed the standard fecal and coliform content.
Meron kaming siphoning machine na 2. So patuloy yung so yung first chamber, yung merong kasamang mga sludge, yun ang dinidisludge natin. And we have the treatment facility also na may capacity kami nga 20 to 40 cubic meter per day. Pero we are now upgrading it into 100 cubic meter per day capacity. Ito yung mga almost 3 years na, starting 2016, 2017, and 2018. Ito yung nakakaano kung bakit na-maintain namin yung aming water quality na hindi tumaas yung aming fecal and coliform, na which is a supporting monitoring station. We passed 13.
Meanwhile, the local government will limit the number of tourists in Small and Big Lagoon, and the regular package tour will be also removed beginning November 23. If tourists want to visit the Small and Big Lagoons, they have to pay an additional of 200 pesos each. Bringing of all kinds of plastics, especially bottled water, are also prohibited in all boats and tours. Guests are also advised to bring their own tumblers.
Tingin ko mas magandang idea talaga yun kasi 'di ba mas magiging marirenew siya kumpara dati na naging nila kasi crowded na ng El Nido nila.
Okay lang din sa akin kasi para naman din sa nature yan tsaka para din sa atin.
I would be sad for tourism, but I guess it's good for the island. You have to do what's best for the island.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, El Nido, Palawan.
Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping is full of expectations and is looking forward to in-depth discussions with President Rodrigo Duterte when he visits the Philippines on Tuesday. In a statement a day before his arrival, Xi said the main goal of his 2-day visit is to the relationship between the Philippines and China to a higher level. Xi will be in Manila on Tuesday and Wednesday for a state visit, the first of a Chinese president in 13 years. The Chinese president is expected to spend the first day of his state visit in Malacanang, where he will be welcomed by Duterte and be treated to a state banquet in the evening. His first official stop will be at the Rizal Park for a wreath-laying ceremony at the monument of national hero Jose Rizal. Several agreements are also expected to be signed during Xi's visit. Xi will meet with lawmakers and members of the Filipino-Chinese community the following day before he departs for Beijing. In other news, Moro Islamic Liberation Front Chairman Hadj Murad Ebrahim makes history when he visited the Armed Forces of the Philippines headquarters in Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City today. Murad says this is the first time that he willingly set foot in a military camp after he left school to fight the institution. He, however, clarified that MILF never considered the AFP or any soldier as their enemy and emphasized that their enemies are oppression and injustice. Meanwhile, AFP Chief of Staff Carlito Galvez says the visit of Murad highlights the strong trust and confidence of the MILF leadership and to the AFP and the national government. It also manifests a strong desire of both parties to forge a just and lasting peace for the Bangsamoro region. The visit of Murad comes before a crucial plebiscite on the Bangsamoro Organic Law set in January 2019.
Ano namin is yung assurance, considering also that I will be retiring in the next I think 22 days. And I'm reassuring that the MILF that the Armed Forces of the Philippines will fully support, despite who will be the leader, all tactical considerations will be undertaken on the strategic implications of things on the peace process.
In the plebiscite, it is more an exercise of just expressing the will of the people. So we hope that the violence may not be as bad as the regular elections in many cases.
A truckers group threatens to prolong their protest action if the government will not act on their concerns. The group kicked off today their 6-day protest in opposition to the impending phase-out of trucks and the worsening problem of container congestion at the Manila port area. Thousands of truckers lined up their vehicles along Road 10 of the port with banners showing their grievances. Joining them are brokers suffering from the inconveniences of overloaded ports.
Hindi po tayo papayag sa mga laway na lang po. Kagaya po ng dating nangyari na kinakausap po tayo, pinapakalma, hindi po. Talagang konkretong solusyon po ang kailangan po natin dito.
Port congestion is common during Burr months when exportation is at its peak. The Association of International Shipping Lines says it has no way of solving the problem as they cannot extend the container yard in Metro Manila. The newly built container yard in Bulacan is also not accessible to truckers.
Ang mangyayari kasi dyan, tataas yung cost of truck. Because it is a little farther away. But what can we do? Yun lang may area na available. As of now kasi talagang wala na lugar doon sa mga existing locations.
Meanwhile, the National Telecommunications Commission officially confirms Mindanao Islamic Telephone Company, or Mislatel, as the third telecommunications player. In an order released Monday, the NTC said that Mislatel passed the preliminary and detailed evaluation phases after the selection committee has determined that the first submission package of the consortium was complete and compliant. Mislatel Consortium, comprised of Mindanao Islamic Telephone Company, Udena Corporation, Chelsea Logistics, and China Telecom, was granted provisional authority on November 7 after competitors Sear Telecom and PT&T were disqualified. The Bicameral Conference Committee defers the approval of the Universal Health Care Bill, which seeks to provide coverage for all Filipinos under the Philippine Health Insurance, or PhilHealth. This is due to disagreeing provisions of the bill, with Senate contradicting the lower house's proposal to grant equal benefit package for paying and non-paying PhilHealth members, as this might cause financial crisis to the state insurance. The Senate panel also insists that paying PhilHealth members should be given extra or additional incentives. The Senate Committee on Health and Demography also cites 5 concerns that needed to be agreed upon by the BICAM.
On the 3rd or 4th year onwards, we might need additional revenues. Kaya nga, tinutulak ko talaga rin yung additional syntaxes.
Yung self-employed, walang employee-employer relationship yan. Walang kaltas sweldo yan. So kung alam ka naman covered na lahat, ba't ako magbabayad? By doing these 2 packages, you're preserving the incentive for them to pay.
The BICAM will resume its deliberations next week. And 15 of the 21 Filipino seafarers stranded in India since June have arrived in Manila on Saturday. The 21 Filipino crew members of MV Evangelia M were stranded in Caquindana Airport after they were abandoned by their employer. The Department of Foreign Affairs learned of their situation when the matter was first brought up by the UNTV network after the seafarers sent a photo of them asking for rescue. The DFA assures they are closely working with Indian port authorities and the Admiral Shipping Agency for the repatriation and issuance of the exit clearances of the remaining Filipino seamen. The DFA is also coordinating with local manning agency EVIC Human Resource Management Incorporated for the payment of the salaries and the provision of legal assistance to the seafarers.
Sa naranasan kasi talaga namin, grabing hirap eh. Yung sa amin, medyo ano pa eh. Kasi ang purpose talaga is kumita para sa pamilya eh. Minsan, talagang todo tipid sa pagkain. Tapos, kawil-kawil din. Para ano lang, makasurvive din.
Nagpapasalamat mi ng malaki. Lalo-lalo na rin sa Panginoon na at saka yung mga taong nagdadasal sa amin na nakauwi mi, lalo na sa mga government agencies na tumutulong rin sa amin.
And for the news abroad, here's Pauline Ompico live from Tokyo, Japan. Pauline, good evening.
Good evening, William. Communities affected by the raging wildfires in California hold a vigil amid intensified search for the missing persons. Beverly Sison tells us why.
Residents of communities ravaged by the ongoing Camp Fire gathered on Sunday to remember the victims in the town of Paradise, which has been completely devastated. The remains of 76 people have been recovered, officials said late on Sunday. 63 of them have been tentatively identified pending DNA confirmation. Emotions were high as mourners hugged and lit candles. Authorities on Sunday sifted through the charred wreckage of California's deadliest ever wildfire, searching for any signs of the 1,276 people now listed as missing after the Camp Fire tore through the mountain town of Paradise. Butte County Sheriff Corey Honea said much of the increase in the number of missing was due to his office's efforts to comb through a backlog of emergency calls that came in during the first hours of the fire on November 8th.
Since last night, an additional 5 remains were recovered, bringing the total to up to 76 human remains. 4 of those human remains were found in Paradise, all 4 found inside structures. 1 human remain was found in Concow, and it was found outside of a structure.
He said officials was sifting through the list of missing persons for duplications and people who fled. Some 380 people had been located and taken off the list since Friday, he said.
We have accounted for 714 individuals who were previously listed on the unaccounted persons list. This number has increased by 385 today.
The blaze was 65% contained, up from 60% earlier in the day. Rain is forecast for the area this week, potentially helping douse the flames, but raising the risk of floods and mudslides that will swell the misery of 46,000 people under evacuation orders. Many refugees from the fire have taken up temporary residence from friends and relatives, while others have pitched tents or were camping out of their vehicles. Beverly Sison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Migrants have gathered in Mexico's northern border city of Tijuana, eyeing life north of the border after trekking through Mexico from Central America. Trump has declared the caravans an invasion and has sent some 5,800 troops to harden the border, including barbed wires. But migrants say they just want a chance to work. Mexico's Interior Minister Alfonso Navarrete expressed concerns that there could be similar scenes in Tijuana as in the southern border with Guatemala, when migrants force their way into Mexico with rocks. Local authorities have advised migrants to head to shelters in Tijuana to avoid security concerns. With 1 in 3 people around the world not having access to a toilet, a restaurant stopped every third person en route to the bathroom for a day to highlight the plight suffered by 2.3 billion people. Confused faces and angry responses continued from other customers, particularly when the actor posing as a staff member said there was another toilet a few miles away that was available.
So he's allowed to go to the toilet and I'm not?
Yes.
A British firm selling toilet cleaning products organized the stunt ahead of the United Nations organized World Toilet Day on Monday. Nearly 1 million people are killed by water, sanitation, and hygiene-related diseases each year, according to figures from the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and the International Telecommunications Union. Those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much. Pauline Ompico, live from Tokyo, Japan. The first hospital that caters to elephants released from captivity opens for business in India. Kath Dumaraos tells us why.
Approaching an elephant, Susie, carefully a vet and his assistant draw some blood for routine tests at India's first hospital for the long-trunked mammals, which opened its doors in Uttar Pradesh on Friday. Susie, 67, has been abused and lost all her molars as well as much of her hearing. Another elephant, Asha, 49, has chronic leg issues as she was abused in a circus and suffers from foot abscess.
These elephants go through a lot of abuse, brutality, cruelty in order to be ridden. And through that process, they develop abscesses, internal problems, back problems, all kinds of health issues that need to be addressed.
Elephants in India, numbering about 25,000 in the wild, are endangered species. They are also hounded when they wander into human settlements, damaging crops and homes and trampling people. Hundreds of elephants across India are held in captivity to perform touristic activities. They are often ill-treated by their mahouts and owners who use sharp metal hooks to make them obey instructions. Medical staff at the hospital receive elephants who have been released from captivity where they suffered for years of abuse and brutality and are afflicted with lameness, blindness, abscess, and arthritis. The place is equipped with high-tech equipment such as digital X-rays and advanced tranquilization equipment.
Captive elephants are not meant to be used and abused, but instead have to be given the respect which an animal needs if you're going to be using the animal.
The hospital would not only treat the pachyderms that have been abused during the course of their lives, but also become a center for learning for students interested in wildlife conservation. The hospital on the banks of River Yamuna is close to an elephant conservation and care center run by Wildlife SOS that is home to 22 elephants and would eventually be expanded to take care of nearly 50 pachyderms. After they recover from long-term medical procedures and critical care, the elephants will be transferred to the Conservation and Care Center. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news November 19, 2018. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III, I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.